record on computer. Okay, so now we're recording. As you can see, I'm in my car. So for anyone that was not able to show up to the conference Zoom, or this is not conference Zoom, this is considered Zoom. Now everyone knows how to do it. You basically can just highlight the link. And if you do right click the link, it becomes basically like conference Zoom where you can just click it and you're in, or you can copy and paste it and go to a different browser. That's usually what I do. I've just always done it that way. I apologize that I didn't even think to say anything. Sometimes it's a problem and then others it's not, and then I forget. So thank you for your patience. And again, thank you so much for dealing with me having a slight emergency and having to move the time. So I really appreciate the flexibility. That should not be the case ever again, unless something weird happens, which I have a feeling this is going to be that group. We're going to be like the weird group, which is fine with me. Okay, so normally what we do is I always have an agenda for Zoom. The standards is that I create a certain amount of hours for us to be able to, basically I sign off on the hours ethically. I feel that I've done a pretty good job as far as, it could take maybe, I'm making this up. Let's say Virginia, it took her 4 to 5 hours to finish her stuff today. That doesn't mean that she doesn't get the full 9 hours. It's just, she just happened to finish and it just took her not as long. But then let's say, and again, I'm only saying because you're like literally sitting next to each other, but then let's say Godwin, it took him 12 hours. Who knows? It's how long it takes you. But I've done a lot of testing to try to really, really make sure that it takes closer to like 6 hours, because remember, you get a lunch, you get all this stuff, plus we do Zoom. So normally my Zooms run for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Today's Zoom will be about 20 minutes. And that's not because I don't want to see you. It's just because it's your first week. Well, it's technically second week, but your first week being on the floor or whatever you're on in the house or wherever you're located. And it doesn't need to be this long drawn out thing. What I want to do is reiterate basically what we went over last week. And there's a certain way that I do that. So before we get started, I always do housekeeping. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about anything that they saw on? Was it set up where it made sense? Do you have questions about any of your assignments that are due today by 7?
Your assignments, no. I feel like your assignments were pretty much laid out and
easy, right?
I tried, but Miss Judy's assignments were kind of all
right
over the place.
I can't even do it. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, what? And
I just feel like yours is kind of like really detailed and just kind of set out, so we can just go in there, do what we need to do, and
get out.
It done.
Exactly.
Yeah, the other ones were kind of like we had to go to different weeks, like
yes,
find the things in different areas. I've been going back and forth with text messages over the med cards because I guess her phone, she's been changing the times on things on her phone, but it doesn't allow the type of submission. So when you go and submit it, there's no button to push or anything to submit the document.
Good time.
But she says she's going to do it when she gets home.
Okay.
But then when she does change the time, we don't know it's been changed. And so it's like some of us know and we're like texting each other like, oh, it's been changed. And then some don't know. And so we're like, we don't know if we should turn it in today or tomorrow or when.
And then you have 18 other classes and
exactly. And then that's another thing is we have so many different classes and we're like, okay, so we're just trying to keep up with that work too on top of it. And then it's like, oh, by the way, I forgot we're going to do this too. And so I don't know. It's kind of confusing.
One good thing about that, Virginia, and I'm going to say this, and I said this yesterday, is this is one good thing. This is a pass or fail class. Now, that does not mean I'm saying now, however, I'm not looking for half-ass work. It's pass or fail. I don't think I've ever in my career of teaching, I've never failed anyone in clinical because I haven't had to. If I see a pattern, like let's just say a certain person's turning their work in late every week or the work is like, okay, read the directions it says, and I'm pretty specific, 3 to 6 sentences. I'm not looking for like 25 paragraphs. I try to really, really direct you so that you feel like when you turn it in that you did what was asked of you. So please remember, it is pass or fail. I don't want to stress you out. I really am. I don't want you to feel like it's busy work. I'm hoping you actually are like, even myself, when I watch the de-escalation video and I still watch it, I'm like, I learned stuff, and I've been doing this a long, long, long time. And I know that myself, Edwina, Godwin, and Rosa, I believe Rosa, right? You had worked in the psych realm. We learn stuff all the time, even though we know it. Seeing someone else do it can be very, very beneficial. So I hope you found it, especially if you watched it before you went to your clinical site.
That's the hard part with me too, is I can't really watch anyone do anything because there's no nurse there. And then the staff
I
that's there,
know.
don't get me wrong, the Shane, the guy there, the case manager, because even the contact people weren't even there. He was the one that gave me a little kind of rundown. But he
Right.
even said he hasn't even went to college. He graduated, he got his
Yep.
experience there. He knows a lot of stuff. Don't
Oh
get
yeah,
me
heck
wrong.
yeah.
But then it's like when you learn from experience, you don't you know what you're doing is beneficial, but you don't know why you're doing
And how
it
to explain it.
and how to
Always.
explain
Yeah.
it. And so
Yeah.
it's like I'm not seeing someone model the behavior of a nurse,
Right.
aspect. So I'm like picking and choosing, like, okay, well, if that's therapeutic conversation, so I'll do it
Yes.
like that. But at the same time, I'm like, there's things that he says that I'm like, that's not how we're being taught as nurses to think, like.
And I'm glad you
So
said that. And I'm gonna say that sorry, my doctor just left. He's like, what the hell is this crazy girl doing? Sorry, I try not to say crazy, but it's just part of our verbiage. So it's beneficial and not beneficial. So in the where you're at right now, really, there's not a ton of nursing, and what you're really doing. And that's why I was actually talking with one of you this morning. And I said, my dream would be to take you all to Crestwood. That's our norm. And we go to Crestwood and we get this experience. Even El Camino, I'm gonna be honest, I work there. It's not a good experience. It's not. And I take them all. I take them all on Monday from San Jose State. And I don't like the experience. I think it's terrible personally as a learning experience. And they are all nurses. The real in my opinion, Miss B may say something else, but in my opinion, the true part of this clinical of why it's important is to feel comfortable in the environment of people seeing someone have a crisis. It's just very different. You don't get to do that nursing role. You get to see people maybe acting out, and you are right. You get to then you take what you want and leave what you don't, because you're going to see things, and that's almost beneficial too. Like, I would have done it this way. Now, of course, you're not going to say that to them.
yeah, of course.
But that's beneficial too. And I hate saying this because it like literally makes my heart ache because this is the love of my life. But it's like, and I know you know this, we don't have it. It just sucks because we don't have a choice.
Yeah.
We need hours. You guys should be doing this in the RN program, momentum, in the by yourself, because you're much more
exactly, because then you already know the knowledge to apply it, so
and that's what we do.
Feel confident. And the whole point, like I feel like I was like when I went in for my objective was to feel comfortable in that environment,
which is a great goal.
I feel like it is still the experience will build that confidence in me up and get me more comfortable, and the anxiety will reduce. But at the same time, it's like,
I know
the knowledge that I'm learning is going to make me feel that way too. So I guess I'm just going to have to do the best I can. And
exactly. And make it the best. And you only have 3 more days, you guys, by the way.
Exactly.
It's just crazy. See, I said it again. And something else that might be beneficial too. So like, for example, today we're going to do a little, just a very quick exercise. This will take us 10 minutes and it's done. But again, I like reiteration. I like to say things not over and over and over. Well, yes, I do. And you'll learn. So next week, basically what we're doing is called medication madness. That's normally what I would do with you on day 1, actually in person, but everything was kind of all over the place because it was Judy and and I didn't get to do as much as I wanted because I just didn't get to. And so I'm going to do that next week. Today, what I want to do is I'm going to say, oh, did anyone have anything else they had questions about or wanted to say before I get to the activity? And then that's it. And not that I don't want to hear about your experience, but that's next week because I want to keep the weeks the same. So I don't want to ask you today because then I might forget. I want to do it all on the same week. So Tuesday, I'll ask that class, how was your experience? And then I'll ask you guys the same thing. Does that make sense? Instead of asking you today, I want to keep everyone on the same week because they didn't go yesterday. They went today. So I do care what happened. I just want to keep everyone on the same week. Otherwise, hopefully that makes sense. At this point, nothing really makes sense to me. I feel like honestly, I'm this close to calling an Uber and just picking me up. I'm so tired to drive home. But let's make the most of this. Okay, so everybody, I would like you to listen, and this is in no particular order. These two people are not here, so I need to not have them on the list, so I'll just skip over them. So Virginia, you're number 1. So remember that.
Okay.
Godwin, you're number 2. So that means you're after Virginia. Casey, you're number 3, which means you're after Godwin. Sorry, it's hard because I have the other ones that aren't here. Rosa, you're next, which will be after Casey. And then Edwina, your number, I guess it would be 5, which is after Rosa. So it goes Virginia, Godwin, Casey, Rosa, and Edwina. And now you're all like, what does that mean? So what we're going to do is basically I'm going to, all the things that we talked about, it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's it. Remember the terms that I stood up kind of, and I was by the door and I was talking about what are the 5 types of hallucinations and what is the
Yeah.
We're going to go over that. And why are we doing that? Again, it's reiteration. And what it means is when you walk in, let's say Virginia is not really quite familiar with the DSM-5 and you walked in today and you're like, oh my God, I actually recognize what that is. And it helps build confidence. You actually know what it is, you know what it means. And I have a method to my madness. That's all I'm going to say. And it's all going to come together at the end. And then you're going to say, oh, okay, now I know what she was doing. So just trust me is what I'm going to say. I do have there is a plan here. Okay. So we're going to start with Virginia. Now, if you do not know the answer, number 1, this is a safe place. Nobody's stupid. This is brand new information to a lot of people. This is supposed to be fun. Okay. This is not supposed to be like scary. If you don't know the answer, just say pass. Okay. So if I ask you the question, you just say pass. It's so just pass. You don't even have to say, I don't know, just pass. And then we forget it even happened. Okay. So no pressure, Virginia, you're first. So can you tell me, and nobody else can talk. Where's Godwin? Godwin?
I'm here.
You cannot talk. You cannot.
No, I'm not saying anything.
Until it's your turn, okay? All right. Not until the next, okay. Not until after Virginia. Okay. All right. So Virginia, can you tell me, you don't have to name out the entire thing, but what are the 3 letters of the book, that kind of the acronym of the book that we use to diagnose mental health disorders?
DSM-5.
Damn. Okay, perfect. Exactly. And you must have that diagnosis and it has the criteria, and that was beautiful. Excellent. See? Good job. So then we're going to go next to who? Godwin. So Godwin, can you tell me how many hours is a 5150?
72.
Thank you so much. And then the next person, can you tell me 1, 2, or all 3 if you want to, reasons why someone would be put on a 5150?
If somebody is harming himself, like he's trying to do suicide, he might be on 5150. If he's trying to harm some other people, he might be on 5150. If he is unable to take care of himself and if his life will be in danger, he will be put on 5150.
Very good. Wow. Everyone always forgets the third one. Perfect. Wow. Did you study or what? Very good. And can you tell me what that word is called, Casey, if you remember it? So potential harm to self, harm to others, or what is it actually called? If you don't remember it, it's okay.
Gravely disaster, something like that.
I love you. Gravely disabled.
That's a good try.
Please don't ever call them a gravely disaster. He's all documenting gravely disaster. Oh my God. See, this makes me, I need this. Oh, thank you guys. It's all about me. I don't care. You don't need to learn. Just make me happy. Thank you so much. No, that was perfect. So Godwin, perfect. He let us know it's a 72-hour hold. It can be voluntary or involuntary, just as a reminder. And then Casey did a great job of letting us know that it is danger to self, danger to others, or gravely disabled. And gravely disabled means unable to take care of themselves. An example of that would be somebody living on the street to eat or potentially take their medications correctly. And that also has to do with those, maybe somebody who has dementia or Alzheimer's and doesn't can't take care of themselves. So it doesn't just have to be with mental health. Excellent job. All right. Next person, I believe is Rosa, if I'm correct. Can you tell me what a 5250 is?
It's just an extension for 5150.
And up to how many days?
I don't know. I forgot.
That's okay. So say pass.
Pass.
Edwina.
It's 2 weeks to 1 month, kind. I don't know. From 2 weeks, yeah, extension from 2 weeks to 4 weeks.
So extension from, okay, so Rosa
Up to
said,
14 days, right?
so exactly. So it's basically an extension of a 5150 for up to 14 days.
14 days.
Perfect.
After the
So
14
now-
days, then it's long-term, right?
And then we go, then we have so many different holds. I usually just stick to the 2 in the beginning.
I had a question real quick. What is a 5158? Or some, because it was in a chart and I was like, did they type it maybe? Because it said put on a 5158. And I was like, what is a 5158?
Oh, no. So I don't know everything because I'm just not, I don't know everything. So all the holds I have written down. So by heart, I know 5150 and 5250 because those ones, so that might potentially be one that's like 4 months to 6 months, kind of like. what
Okay, so there is other holds that are like,
Absolutely, up to a
Okay.
year. Yeah,
okay,
yes.
so
Good.
these are the most common.
Yes, and I figure, you know what, I'm gonna make it kind of like what Miss Judy kept saying, foundational, but that's a great question. So thank you for bringing that up. So that we know that there are more than just 2 types of holds. Keep spitting. What is happening? I think I drank too much water because I was so nervous. And now it would be there, whatever. Anyway. Okay, so so basically just to reiterate what that was. So Rosa said a 5150. No, Rosa didn't say that. Rosa said a 5250 is up to 14 days. And then Edwina said, well, said it backwards and then said it right. Now I want to say it again just to make sure that everyone heard it correctly. A 5250 is an extension of a 5150 for up to 14 days. And you guys are going to hear this every single week, even if it's quick. Eventually I used to call it a cult, but it's not a nice word. So now we call it the squad. We came up with the word squad, and you guys are going to be like fluidly saying all of this. It's so amazing. Just watch. Okay, my next question is going to be for, I think, starting back at Virginia, if I remember correctly. Because Christina's not here. So in the most simplistic way, can you explain to me what a neurotransmitter is?
It is a chemical that is released to stimulate something to happen, basically. Like,
Up, done, boom, right there. That is perfect. Literally, in the most simplistic way, I'm just going to say it a little bit different, but exactly what you just said. And there is a reason I'm asking you this. It's all leading to something. So a neurotransmitter, it's what makes your brain communicate. That is how your brain communicates. Just like that. So if I say, once we get down to our squad and I say neurotransmitter, you're all going to say how the brain communicates. So let's try it. Neurotransmitter.
how the brain
How
communicates.
the brain communicate.
And of course, Godwin's always going to be last
Mhm.
because he has to wake up.
Oh, you're so tired.
I know. We're almost done. Don't worry, love. We're almost done. But this is good because remember, it's going to help you. Trust me. This is going to be good. Okay. So next person, I think we talked about psychosis. If I recall, and I have a hand gesture for it. So psychosis is a detachment from what? The next person.
Reality.
Yeah.
I did teach you
Woohoo.
that, right? Yay, good job. Okay. So we know that SI means suicidal ideation. So this will be for the next person, which I believe is Casey. We know that suicidal ideation, we don't go up to a patient and say, are you having suicidal ideation? Because that's not, that's a medical term. Ideation means thought. So I would ask the patient, are they having thoughts of harming themselves? There's several different ways. But if somebody said to you, yes, I am, what is the first question you think might be important to ask? Yes, I feel like I want to kill myself.
So how you plan to do it?
Exactly. But I love how he smiles.
He's like, I knew that. I knew that
I
one.
love how I know he wouldn't do that in the, and it's nice to see his big smile because I haven't seen it with the mask. But exactly, that's exactly what you would say, because you would want the plan. Now, would you get up in the middle of that conversation and go tell your, yes, you're going to tell your nurse and your instructor, but in the middle of that conversation, you're not going to get up. You're going to continue to listen to the patient, right?
Yes.
So that would be very rude and not therapeutic. So perfect. Excellent job. Because if you leave and that person, it's happened, and not to students, but to other coworkers, you don't want to do that to yourself or to that person. You will never let that go. So it's always important. And we can only do so much, but we want to do everything possible to make sure nothing bad happens. That's our job. Excellent. Okay, the next one is going to be for Rosa. So hallucinations, we have 5. Can you name 2?
What?
You're so cute. What?
Wake up.
Oh, because my connection.
Out of
Okay.
the 5 hallucinations, name 2 types.
Oh, visual and auditory.
Okay, and then the next person before naming any other ones, which would be Edwina, if somebody said to you, I'm hearing voices, what is the first thing you're going to ask them?
What is the voice telling you?
Exactly. And now, even if it's good things like I love you, Godwin, you're so beautiful, I love you, and it's good things, you're still going to go tell a nurse and or you're going to tell someone, right? Because
Yeah.
those voices could change like that and all of a sudden be like, go jump off the building, and then they could do that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very important, good or bad. And again, we don't jump up, we just listen and talk through the conversation. Perfect. Now the next person, so we have visual and auditory. So visual, seeing something that is not there. Auditory, hearing something. Whoever is now the next person after Rosa, Edwina already went. So I think we're back at Virginia. Name the other 3.
Tactile, which is feeling things. We did hearing, seeing, feeling, smelling. So olfactory,
Very
smelling
good.
things, and then tasting.
Yep. And I always forget the word, but I finally remember it
Yes.
now. Gustatory.
Gustatory. I was like, I know it's like a gust, but
I know. I literally just probably like 6 months ago now remember it. But taste, I'll take it. So excellent. Very good job. Any questions about that so far? We're wrapping up. Perfect. Good job, guys. Okay. Next person which would be Godwin. Godwin, can you give me an example diagnosis-wise of somebody who has dual diagnosis? Give me those 2 diagnoses that would create a dual diagnosis patient.
Is it bipolar and schizophrenia?
Close. And that's what most people would say. So say
Okay.
pass.
Pass.
Thank you. I'm bossy. I'm sorry. So pass. So Casey, you try.
The patient whom I dealt yesterday was a guy who has polysubstance abuse and schizoaffective bipolar disorder.
Exactly. So one of them is going to be a substance use disorder, and then the other one is going to be a mental health disorder. So it's going to be alcohol use disorder and anxiety disorder. So it's
I have
going
a
to
quick
be
question.
Yes.
Does it always like the 2 disorders like are like one's affected because of the other? Is that why they're dual?
Stop reading my brain. That was literally
Well,
coming.
because I didn't know if that's the reason why, because like I know that there is like 2 other, like anxiety and depression.
Yep.
Those dual disorders then, because they're kind of like one can kind of affect the other.
So
Or
that would not
bring
be
the other one on or
diagnosis.
something.
That would be more comorbidity rather than dual diagnosis. So for example, dual diagnosis, and this is how I explained it yesterday, was so 99% of the time, really it's 100 really, but 99% of the time, if you have an alcohol or heroin or methamphetamine or some sort of substance use disorder, you're gonna have a mental health disorder associated with it.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that again. If you have alcoholism, any sort of substance use disorder, you're going to have depression, anxiety, bipolar, something else 99% of the time. Now, the other way is not true. If you have anxiety disorder, depression, bipolar disorder, schizoaffective, schizophrenic, that doesn't mean you have a substance use disorder. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I hear your baby. Is that Rosa's?
Yeah.
Very sweet little voice. Okay, next person, I don't know who it is. What does it mean when I say the term affect? And I go like this. That's my sign language for it. Who's next? Is it
Show no emotion or
someone's like, Jesus, like 1820s in their car. Like, I don't even know if they're 20s, 10s, bumping bass. So affect, so how your face is presenting to someone else or the patient is presenting to you. So if I walk like resting bitch face, oh sorry, you have kids. Resting B face, that would be a negative affect. That's something that we wouldn't want to portray to our patients, right? Because it kind of closes us off. Normally we're actually looking at their affect. So if they're flat, I can't do it. I have a lot of trouble. Look at Godwin right now. Godwin, look at the camera. So Godwin, and don't
I'm
smile.
trying to note down my thing, please.
Don't smile. Now first that right there, that's flat affect. He has a flat affect. There's no emotion on his face. That's perfect. Wow, look at a statue. That's perfect. So that would be a flat affect. And we'll learn other affects as we go through, but just understanding what affect means. Again, if you're reading a chart, you'll have more understanding, right?
Aw.
Sorry to everybody.
His hair is so curly.
Oh my God.
What a
Oh,
cutie.
you're making my uterus hurt. Oh my God. Okay. The last two I'm going to explain and then we're going to wrap up and that's it. Okay.
He's still looking at Godwin's face. Go ahead.
I can't even see his face. Is he falling asleep? Godwin. Okay. Ready? So we're going to talk about the difference between an illusion and a delusion. Most people, there's a pretty face. Okay, I see it now. So a lot of people have trouble with those two terms. So an illusion, this is a water bottle. Everyone can see that, right? But, and I always use the same example, so I'm gonna try to make it something else, but I think it's a telephone. So it's an actual object that I can touch and feel. It's not a hallucination. A hallucination would be if I thought I saw Dolly Parton standing in the parking lot. I have no idea why I picked her. I usually say Obama. Let's say Obama standing right there. Obviously he's not, and or he could be, but he's not. We all can see that. This is actually in my hands. It's not a hallucination. I can touch it, but I think it's a phone. What is this?
Adorable.
So this is an illusion. Now, a delusion has to do more with your brain. It's a delusional thought. It's a fixed thought that you can't get out of. And the best example, if you hear CIA, FBI, president, that usually has a lot to do with the having a delusion. Not always, but again, we're trying to build a foundation. So false fixed beliefs, write that down if you want to write it down. False fixed beliefs. The CIA is after me. They're watching me in the camera. False. Like this morning when I thought Godwin saw me on the toilet, I'm totally avoiding and I'm texting because I'm trying to do 18 things at one time to get into the doctor. And he's like, I can see you. And I was like, what the fuck? Oh my God, it was the funniest thing. And then when Cameron said the same thing, or yeah, Casey, sorry. I was like, what is happening? And I had a moment of psychosis. I can see you. I'm like, how can you see me? Oh my God. And anyway, so thank you for giving me a little bit of a heart attack this morning. That's why I'm going to tell everyone that's why I fell. Godwin made me fall because he said he could see me on the toilet.
But
That's what I'm gonna say.
I didn't know the CIA were behind you.
What?
I didn't know the CIA and FBI were after you, so I couldn't.
Right, this is true. See, he didn't know. That's exactly right. Oh my God. Good times, right? So I mean, that's it. So what we did was we did a good review of what we talked about last week. So we're just reiterating that, so hopefully it can stick in your brain. And now we're gonna build. It's like math. You know how math builds on top of each other? So next week is gonna be a longer Zoom. So I want you to be prepared for that. We're gonna do what's called medication madness. And I'm gonna teach you the beginning ways of how I teach how to remember medication, and you can use that mechanism throughout your whole time. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. A lot of people really seem to utilize it, and it helps a lot with psychiatric medication specifically. So that's all I had today. I like to keep day one short and sweet. You guys had a really long week last week with us. You had a long clinical day yesterday, and I'm sure a million other things to do tonight. So next week we'll be on for plan for about an hour and a half. I like to give expectations about how long, so that you can do that. And if you have any questions, I keep spitting. Oh my God. If you have any questions in the meantime, I'm there tomorrow. And then I am on, I have that thing, a phone. So text me and let me know if you have any questions. We now have a group text. We have 2. I need to figure out which one to erase. Because I put 2 wrong people. So any questions about anything before we sign off and have a fabulous night?
No, thank you.
No, and I thank you. Seriously, I know it doesn't maybe not seem like a big deal, but I truly, truly appreciate the fact that you guys were all so sweet and flexible with my disastrous luck of being injured. So thank you very much for being flexible and being here. And I want to touch that little boy, his head. Oh my God. So cute. And as I tell everyone, if you don't kick me off Zoom, you will never leave me, because I can't. You have to kick me off.
Okay, bye. I'm leaving.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.